Let's stand.
Okay. All right, everybody. Conan O'Brien Must Go, season 2. Look at all you lucky sons of bitches who got to see it first. Brag to your friends, tell your neighbors, tell that aunt you haven't talked to in 3 years. I saw the first episode of season 2 of Conan O'Brien Must Go at the American Cinematheque. Yeah! Are there kids here, by the way? I apologize in advance for that. Or not in advance, too late. So, without further ado, the man you're here for, the man who's had quite a year so far already, the one, the only, Conan O'Brien! Sure, absolutely. I realized I didn't introduce myself. I'm Michael Schneider. I'm the TV editor at Variety, so I'm not just some guy they took off this. Well, I actually kind of am a guy.
No, you're a terrific writer, and thank you for doing this. Let's hear a hand for this gentleman right here. It's very nice of you to do this.
You are so kind.
Very nice of you to do it.
So, how fucking dreamy is Javier Bardem? I know, it's too late. I already screwed it up.
Okay.
How dreamy is that Javier Bardem?
Yeah, it's Javier.
Javier.
Which I learned very quickly. That was a gift. He, this season we've got some ringers that step in at various points. And that was, Javier said, when I interviewed him in the States, I would love to show you Madrid sometime. And I thought, A-list movie star, he's saying that just to get out of the podcast. We're done. I just want to get back in my town car and get back to the hotel and leave. And sure enough, the minute he heard that I might even be going to Spain, he said, I want in. We were just going to shoot one thing with him, and he just kept saying more, more, more. And he is, he's just a dream. I mean, it's just, he's so funny. And you can, I mean, we are doing a lot of improv together, and in that scene where we're mirroring, we're eating with each other, I'll do a little thing, he'll pick up on it, then he'll do a little thing, and you just think, this is like the greatest UCB partner that you could ever have, you know? He's fantastic, he's amazing.
Yes, country for this old man.
Yes, yeah, there you go. There you go.
So how much of that do you plan out with him when you were doing these segments? Did you know you were going to end up doing some improv like that, or did it just kind of just happen?
Well, first of all, I have to come clean. We have, and they're here, the amazing, this team, Mike Sweeney and Jesse Gaskell and Jose Arroyo are here, who worked very hard. You guys should stand. Come on, stand up. Come on. Oh, they're not here. All right, well. Oh, there. Hey, Jesse, how are you? Good to see you. And there's Jose right there, also known as Dr. Arroyo. And Sweeney's in the back. That's not a lab skeleton.
Such a typical writer thing, though. They're like, me? No, never.
Yeah, but just try and cut him out of the process. Writers Guild's on the phone. But they work really hard coming up with different scenarios and doing a lot of the research. They also came up with the pork casso bit, which I insisted they cut and thought they had cut until I'm sitting here in the audience tonight, and next to Mike Sweeney, and I see him put his head in his hand because he suddenly realizes he told me he cut it and he didn't.
I loved it. The soul leaving your body, the porcasso.
Yeah, it really did leave my body. No one saw you leave. It's okay. Anyway, yeah, from this angle, it'll be more exciting. Two guys with microphones. The series. But yeah, they work really hard, and we have just an incredible operation that we've been honing. It started with, I mean, really even before Conan Without Borders, it started on the old late night show with Finland, and then it's been a trajectory of trying to do more and more of these shows, Conan Without Borders, and then doing them for Max, where we could keep elevating the look, have access to some more people, and it's been a journey, but it's been a lot of people that have helped along the way. So Jeff Ross is here, who's the executive producer who makes it all happen.
Shout out.
And we're very blessed. There's a guy who's here tonight who really, you could be anywhere in the world and you could say, I need a wizard's hat made of caramel. And you could be in Bahrain and you could say, I need a Harry Potter wizard's hat made of caramel. And he'll say, okay. And he'll run out and he'll come back 20 minutes later with it. I don't know how he does it, but it's Jason Chalemi and he's here. Jason, wave, come on.
It's just pure fear of you.
Fear of my displeasure. So we come up with various scenarios, and then there's a lot of me. I would say it's a healthy mix of me getting into situations, and my favorite thing is to not get a reaction from people who are from another land and horrified.
Well, I gotta imagine
why is Jane Lynch here tormenting us? They just don't know what this man is doing. They don't know.
Yeah.
And I love those. That's one of my favorite things.
I gotta imagine going back and watching some of the footage that you probably didn't see some of those reactions in the moment until later you see the eye rolls or the certain things where people are like...
My favorite is just staring in disbelief and also sometimes just glassy-eyed. What's wrong with that man? And those are some of my favorite reactions.
How do you know how to pick, so the civilians that you start with when you talk to on the podcast and you decide, okay, this is a good person to feature on the show.
Yep.
The civilian Javier, for example, in the beginning,
yep.
He actually had some chops. I mean, the whole...
Oh, they're great. The people that we have found so far last season and this season they're all... It helps so much, and I'm very blessed that I have fans that are good-natured and funny, and they invariably are willing to give things a go, and they have a good heart. That just seems to be what translates. So Aaron Blair we call him Blay, he will do some research. He did it for a long time with his sister. She was working on the show, then she moved to help me out here. No one cares. Just occurred to me, no one really cares where she went.
We're getting very granular
awful
here.
People you are. I'm pretty sure she's in like Minnesota, one of those. What's that, Michigan? It's one of those ones where you fly over and you look down and...
when did she move and how's her new place?
Nice, it's really nice. It's made of cinder blocks. And it's held together with molten cheese. Anyway, they they do the research. We have people that call in and say, or call in, I'm such an idiot. People that contact us on the computer. They call us through the computer, said the old idiot. And then we proceed to, there's a weeding process, and then I talk to them. And then we can kind of figure out who would be a good person to visit. And you can just tell, okay, airline pilot, and he seems like he has a great sense of humor, and he seems really sweet, and I could learn, that would be a good segment. You kind of learn which would make a good segment.
So what comes first? Do you decide where you want to go, and then you start to reach out to fans in that region?
It all sort of starts to congeal. I love the word congeal. It congeals, getting another angle. It's good. It's going to make it Pulitzer with that one. Not the Pulitzer you're thinking of. There's another Pulitzer.
Right.
It's the Lily Pulitzer, the dressmaker.
I was going to say.
That's really
Pulitzer.
clever if you know fashion. Beats Picasso anytime. Anyway, I don't know where I am. I don't know why I'm
Pulitzer,
doing this
yeah.
at this stage in my life. I would say it's a process of it becomes kind of clear, and as it did last year too, where there are cities where we have a couple of fans, because it's good to have more than one if you're going to have an episode in one city. I have more than one fan. I hear We're down to 7 now since the accident. So I don't know why you're laughing at that. I didn't know they made a bicycle built for 35, but they did. They were all on one bike. The point is, I don't have a point. There's no point to any of this. There's a lot of babble, and then the cameras are rolling, and then we cut it down, and we make a show.
Make TV, make magic.
Max says, that'll fill time.
But so you sort of, at the same time, you're finding your fans, you're also deciding, okay,
it's
Spain
a process.
makes sense.
Yes, and then there's a lot of arguing and a lot of, but generally it comes down to, then we arrive, we make all our plans. Oh, it's key to get a good fixer in every city around the world, and we've been very lucky at that, and that's Jason's department. He always finds these really amazing people who say, I know what to do. Nope, you don't want to go there, you want to go here. You want to do this? Nope, you don't want to do that. And so you need local people to tell you how to do this.
And that's how you've stayed out of jail all these years.
Or did I? That's, watch episode 3. This season, Austria.
But nonetheless, how many people do you bring out to these, how big is your crew versus working with the local crews?
Well, I think...
It was a really bad question, I know. I know.
I don't know why I'm giving them shit. They're doing their job, and they're doing a good job. And I think we should, let's hear it for these guys. They're here, they're photographing. Yeah, Team Coco forever. We have, in total, I would say, we have an incredible unit of sound, and 2 camera people who are absolutely amazing. And I don't know who's here. Who's here, Jason? Do you know who's here?
Christy, Percy, Brenda.
Stand up. These are just amazing. Stand up. Hey, ladies. They kick ass. They get it done. They're incredible. I wish they use a boom more often. It's very invasive when they get in to put the lav on you, and sometimes I think it's unnecessary. Oh, this guy's coming this way, all right. I'm like a T-Rex. I just see movement, and then I attack.
These photos of you are very valuable.
These are very valuable. Conan with a mic is very valuable online right now.
Paying big money for him.
And there's a real endurance to it too. And sometimes we have very long days. We did one day with Javier, and that was a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff you didn't even see, but I couldn't believe it. I kept thinking he's just gonna say, okay, that's enough. Yeah. And he kept saying, no, we've got to do more. I have another idea. Let's do this. Let's do that. So he was. He doesn't have enough work.
Clearly, this is his springboard to getting back in the biz.
I thought he was in Puss in Boots, by the way, so that's on me.
But
a little bit of fear of Vin Diesel getting angry with me, but I'll deal with that when it comes.
I was going to ask you about that.
Sometimes I worry about those things, and then I realize, what are you going to do?
Well, Vin Diesel's known for having a great sense of humor.
He might be. I don't know. He could be a fine fellow.
Actually, no idea. Yeah, perhaps.
I just loved. I loved that clip. That the thing about the street is the street always wins. I mean, I could watch that clip forever. It makes no sense. How did he know that was going to happen, and how did he know that Jason Statham was going to fall right then? I could talk about this for hours, and I will. If you guys want to meet up at a separate location, I will just talk to you about how insane it is that he watched the cracks forming and knew exactly what was going to happen, and knew that one stomp of his size 3 boot, ladies, would cause that garage to collapse.
Based on a real story, by the way.
Probably.
That really happened.
It's happened all the time. Who can say?
I hope, by the way, that ad that you voiced actually does air in Spain. I think it's going to air.
I'm going to make...
Because that's one of my favorite things, is when you actually go and you appear on local TV shows in other countries, and then you end up actually appearing on those shows in local territories. And I always wonder, do the people know who you are in those?
Strangest thing I ever did was there was a guy who kind of looked a little like a German... I did this way back in the early 2000s, I think. He looked like a German David Letterman, sort of, and he had little glasses like Dave, and his name is Harold Schmidt, and he had the Harold Schmidt show in Cologne, and I was in Germany doing some stuff, and he invited me on, and I went on the Harold Schmidt show, and he had copied Dave's set exactly. Plus, he also used our bits, like he'd used the clutch cargo, he did a couple of other bits, and they just thought like, oh, those are great, it's okay for everyone to use them, and I was actually fine with it. I didn't care. But anyway, the point of the story is that Harold Schmidt had me on, and his whole audience is German. And so I came on, and I'm sitting there, right, and he'd say to me, hey, Conan, tell us a funny story, and I'd tell a story that always works, and hear nothing, and then he'd turn to the audience and say it to them in German, and then there'd be a long pause, and you'd hear, no. And then a cuckoo clock somewhere would go off. That was weird.
A little lost in translation,
But I do, it's long been a passion of mine to travel the world, and now that America's loved more than ever, I'm really looking forward to being an ambassador. If nothing else, they can take out their aggression and rage at me.
Well, and now's a good time to mention that you have been picked up for another season.
Yeah, we got another season, season 3. Although that was before the tariffs. So a little worried about that. It may cost us $700 million to go to China.
There may be
and shoot for 8 seconds.
Maybe some different reactions, perhaps. To
I don't know what's going to happen.
But
But that has often been the appeal, is to try and as you know, my humor is very self-effacing, and I'm comfortable when people are laughing at me and when they're in the position of power. And so now more than ever, that feels like a good tone to be spreading around the world. That there are some of us who have some humility and are ashamed of ourselves.
You may be, seriously, the ambassador we need in the rest of the world right now.
Well, that's a terrible thing to say. And no one here really went with it, so...
Right. I thought I was going to get an applause line, honestly, after I said
too
that.
Late. Yeah, we'll edit that in later.
But nonetheless, yeah, it is interesting times. But you have another season. But this season, of course, now we can announce officially that it's back May 8 on Max.
Yeah, there's this show. We go to, 3 different countries. So
what are the other countries you go to?
We go to, that's a fascinating question. Austria is the 3rd one. And then, of course, the country, yes, New Zealand, of course. Thank you, Jesse Gaskell. And we run into a very fun celebrity there. And there's a lot of, they're all very different. Each one is very different, which is something I'm proud of. Each one has a completely different look. And my goal has always been, because travel show is such a popular genre, and I always thought, I want to do a travel show where you know less about the country afterwards than you did going in. And I also have a lot of envy, because I watch the other travel shows where they're just tasting delicious food and going, this is incredible! And cut back to 5-star hotel. And we're running around, and people are putting a Don Quixote mustache and beard on me with bad glue. Bad glue, I don't know why. It burned. Burned terribly.
And that actually, going back to the production and the team that comes with you, I mean, these are elaborate makeup and wardrobe.
It is and it isn't. There is a
for your consideration.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to take us out of the Emmy running for costuming, but I think a high school production of Raisin in the Sun would beat us. No, the costuming is very good, but the makeup sometimes is, I'll literally be standing in a jungle or in an olive grove, and people will be putting a very fake beard on me, and it can feel very much like we're going to be arrested. So it isn't like a movie shoot. That's all. That's all I can say. But other than that, I still think it's award-winning stuff.
It is fun to see. It looks like a little bit guerrilla filmmaking sometimes.
It is very much guerrilla. Yeah, very much grab and go. And the best things are always accidents, and you always hope for those. And little things that happen that you didn't think would happen. And I think it wasn't a surprise, but just that Javier was so willing to do all of these things. And you'd say anything and you go, well, let's do it, man. We've got to do it, man. Let's go. And yeah, it was, and so I have slept with Javier Bardem, and then a bunch of years ago at Comic-Con, I made out with Ryan Reynolds. Then we shot a bit. Come on, that was fun. You all enjoyed it. Yeah, I have these experiences that so many people on my staff envy, and it's just, you know, they're like, wait a minute, you got to sleep with Javier Bardem? And I'm like, yeah, no, we were doing a bit. And they're like, you idiot.
Right. 4 different positions.
Yes,
it was great.
Exactly, yeah, but he was wonderful.
He also managed, there was a moment where he was kind of analyzing you as well. You almost had a therapy
No, he made
segment.
me eat that pig's tail and then completely broke down everything that's wrong with me. Which is really a beautiful moment because he's what's funny about it is that it's true. It is true. This is an arc that's been going on my entire life, which is desperately trying. And if someone says to me, eat the pigtail, I will eat the pigtail. And then they'll explain to me later that nobody eats the pigtail.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be eaten.
He was a very perceptive man that day.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
now, as I was watching you eat that pigtail, I remember hearing you mention on your podcast that you got ill after this trip. So were those connected?
I don't think so. It wasn't the pigtail. I don't know what it was. I think a bunch of us got ill. Jesse Gaskell, I was in, sorry, Jesse, but I was on an escalator in Heathrow, and Jesse Gaskell was sitting in front of me, sitting on the escalator going down, vomiting into a bag. Jesse, would you like to stand up again? Anyway, that's how hard, there she is.
Hero.
She's got her electrolytes back.
Hashtag hero.
But that was true. They're warriors. These people that work with me are gladiators, and they work really hard, and they get sick, and we just keep going.
Yeah, we're going to spend the rest of this panel just talking more about, in graphic detail, this illness.
Exactly. Why is it called For Your Consideration? That feels very meek and mild. I don't want to be considered. I demand prizes for this show. That's another thing I don't like. I don't want, for your consideration, I demand an Emmy! 7 Emmys for makeup alone.
That's very 2025 vibes right there.
You know, you gotta just, put it out there. You have to demand for your consideration. When's enough? When? When do you think you got it? I don't mind. I'm just curious when you think I got it. Like, that one's it. I got it. You never know, right? You never know. You never know. And don't let me get into your head and interrupt your flow. Keep doing it. Oh, look, the other photographers all fled because there's something crazy happening across the street. There's a tornado. They're all getting their prize-winning photos, and you're here getting the 7,000th photo of me cross-legged in a chair.
He's waiting for the money shot.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
I see. All right.
Yeah. So when I introduced you...
What's happening? I thought you had left. Okay. I go on these rants, and I think people have left.
When I introduced you, I was talking about what a year you've had so far. Of course, there was the little thing called the Oscars.
Yep. It's fun.
Hold for applause.
Good time.
And now... you've agreed to return.
Yes, yeah. I thought it might be fun to do it again when we know what it is. When, the first time you do it, there's so much of it, it's just discovery. And then they asked us right away, would we come back? When I say we, I mean the team that I have as well. And I said, yeah, I'd like to do that again now that we even know a little more, and maybe we could have a little more time. So it felt like a fun. I had a really good time. It was really fun. It's a nice sports car to drive, that Oscars. So
Yeah, and as you know, these jobs, they can be thankless, but the reviews were all fantastic. I mean, universally, people adored your performance as the host of the Oscars.
That's nice. What I think...
Again, where was the applause?
No. Don't do that. That's just, now that cheapens all of it. This isn't being recorded. I hear applause in my mind all the time. So
Okay. I'm helping you out.
When I successfully urinate at night, I hear a huge standing ovation.
And you actually say, where's the applause?
Yeah. But I loved doing it. It was really fun. Yeah. And I think the thing that helped me is that I really do love movies, and I went into it with kind of a, gee, I get to host this is fun,
yeah.
And it's cool that I get to do this. I grew up watching, some of my heroes, Johnny Carson, Bob Hope hosting the Oscars, and so Billy Crystal hosting the Oscars, and so it's cool to be part of that little chain. And so I think we worked really hard and we had good material, but I also think it helps when I had real joy and enthusiasm about doing it, and for the art form of cinema, and as I do for television. So I think when that comes out, it helps buoy things a little bit.
Yeah, and it sounds like in bringing back your writers and reuniting with them and really just having fun, and you went out there and had fun.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the relief afterwards was great, but now you're over that hump. So the second time's going to feel a little different, I imagine. How are you going to approach the second time?
If you're built like me, you think, oh, this is more... I'll find some way to make it more perilous. I have a way of ruining anything with my mind, so... but I'm going to try not to do that.
You have a lot more time this time to prep.
Yes, we have about a year, which is why I don't even want to talk about it right now. We're looking forward to that. And this did, and I have real thanks to HBO Max because, I'm sorry, Max, the chip wasn't working for a second. They're doing a reinstall Monday. Max, we called them up and said, I've got to do I'd love to do the Oscars. And they said, yes, we'll let you do that. We just need another show before you go do that. So we dashed off to Austria really quickly, but ended up doing a lot of stuff. We did that show in 2 sections. We did it for a little bit, and then for family reasons, we had to break it off and then went back and finished it, So
the other thing that you premiered at Sundance is you're in a film, and this is sort of a departure for you. You've got Okay, now I've trained them well.
Yeah, although that's pretty lackluster applause.
Wait till
I'd
they
rather
see
not get it than get, okay. This guy looked like he was just keeping a fly away, Sorry, but there was no life in your palms.
He's like, let me see the film
first. He was putting out like a small brush fire that wasn't really dangerous. There was no... yes, I was approached. I got a call, maybe a year and a half ago. It was quite a while ago from Adam Sandler. And he just said, hey, buddy, A24 wants to know if they can talk to you about doing a movie. And I said, A24? Yeah, I guess so. And he went, you fucking bet yes, buddy. And it was the Safdies, and they had it's a movie by a brilliant filmmaker, writer-director named Mary Bronstein, and she had this, I read the script and I thought, this script is terrific and unlike anything I've read before. And I don't do movies. And she had Rose Byrne lined up, who is extraordinary and one of my favorite actors of all time. I think she's absolutely incredible. And so I spent a while trying to talk them out of casting me, because I said, you've got you've got Rose Byrne, you've got this, I'm not an actor, that's not something I aspire to. And Mary Bronstein was like, no, you're the right person for this. And so she worked with me. I did work really hard, and I think it came out pretty well. And what I will say is that this movie is not about me. It's Rose Byrne. I believe gives a performance that will make people's eyeballs fall out in a good way. And I think it will be much discussed. It's already been a hit at film festivals, not just at Sundance, but I think Berlin. And it's so I'm glad that I didn't get in the way of this film's success. And I'm very happy for Mary and for Rose. I think they're the true heroes here.
So do you think this is...
It's called If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, it's called. Just rolls off the tongue that time. It's like Grease. That was the original title for Grease.
Glad they saved it for this one.
Yeah.
But now that you sort of feel like you're maybe a little bit over that hump, is this something you want to do more of? Maybe explore a little more dramatic performances?
Let's have this come out and see what people think. I will say that I started in comedy professionally in 1985 and working on a show called Not Necessarily the News with my partner, Greg Daniels. And then I've had this long, crazy trajectory even before I got the late night show. And then I got that in 93. And then through that, 16 years of that, and then Tonight Show, TBS, and this period, we started doing the podcast as kind of just a fun thing that I had no aspirations. This guy, Adam Sachs, said, you should think about doing a podcast. And I said, well, why would I do a podcast? I have a TV show. And he said, I just give it a shot. And so we made a fake one in a basement, literally, like where I read fake ads, and I just was goofing around, and I just had a blast. And so we started making the podcast, and that turned into a thing which then connects to this show. And it's a very funny thing to say, but I believe that I've been blessed with this incredibly great career, but I believe that I'm more creatively engaged now at 61 than I've been at any other point in my life, and I don't know how that happened. I mean, it's really, I don't know why, these opportunities are coming my way, and I take them very seriously and I work hard on them, but I'm having so much fun and feeling like I'm getting to try a lot of different kinds of things. And so as much as I loved doing that old late night format, I've been very glad that when you leave it, all these other things have popped up.
Right, and you have more time to sort of scratch all these different itches.
Yeah, it's really nice. So I'm just saying, hang in there, get as old as me. And just
Life starts at 61.
Stuff happens. Yeah, it really does. It really does. That's probably not true. And this could be a blip, check in with me in a year, and I may be begging you to kill me.
I should hope not.
I love when those things do well, That was a serious cry for help, and everyone just giggled. You'll look at this later and go, we should have listened, but you didn't.
Well, before we end things, I think Jordan Schlansky is here, right?
Jordan Schlansky is here. We got to give a shout out to Jordan Schlansky. Jordan, there he is.
Yep.
People have to know that he really does. You're one of the strangest people I've ever met, Jordan. You're a gift that just keeps on giving, and we will have the strangest. Jordan and I, and sometimes we'll be in one of these cities, and we're done shooting, and we go to a restaurant, and he's doing that shit. He's seeing, you say pepper, but it's pepper. Pepper from the Greek papiato, which comes from the, and I'll say there's no fucking camera rolling, but he is that guy. And he'll gesture, and he'll say things like, I'll say, why did you do that? He'll say, I am a man. And I'll say, no one starts a sentence with, I am a man. I mean, maybe in Odysseus, but no one talks that way. But that is him through and through, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I like that you're coming in hot with this first episode with so much Jordan. You're like, people demand the Jordan.
It comes and goes. It comes and goes like any other disease. It waxes and wanes, the sores erupt, postulate. And they crust and harden.
Yeah.
I think the scab falls off. You feel better. You think it's behind you. 6 months later, you feel it again.
Yeah, and you really need to have that
Make sure you get all of this, what I'm talking about. So, you know, I want to say a really funny thing happened just before, as the show was ending, someone whispered in my ear, someone who works here, Conan, when this ends, don't worry, security will see you safely out. And I've never had that in my life. And look at these people, like, I've never felt safer. I fear none of you. I'm happy to say hi. I just love the idea that the minute this is over, massive men are gonna move in, well, and create like a wall of flesh and muscle around me to get me safely back to my Ford Taurus so I can go home, you know.
Well, Conan, you know, in Santa Monica, when it comes to street fighting...
Yeah, it all happens right here in front of this.
The streets win.
Yes, the streets win in Santa Monica. Nicely done.
Conan O'Brien!
Very much, man.
Conan O'Brien must go.